This week's episode is about something I know a lot about. You see, it's for those of you that have children and that are having a tough time even thinking about where you can find some time to start getting your fitness back. I remember exactly what that was like and how overwhelming that was for me. Fortunately for you, I also know exactly what I did to get out of that constant rut. I found a way to get my fitness back, get my energy levels back to where they need to be, all while still meeting my obligations as a parent. I'm telling you now that this is something that can be managed. You can find the time to be there for your family, as well as getting in your exercise and eating some good nutrition. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the exact roadmap that you can begin using today to take back your life, finding time to work, raise your family properly, and also to obtain and maintain your health and fitness. Let's dive in. Welcome to episode 16 of the LeRock Show, where I'm here to help you get your fitness back on track at any age and regardless of your current fitness level, so you can spend more quality time with your families, have a brighter outlook on life, and finally find the true joy that life has to offer. I'm your host, LeRock. Hallelujah and much gratitude for those of us that have families. We are lucky and we're blessed beyond imagination. And I'm pumped to be hanging out with you today. For those of you listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify today, thanks for listening and thanks for your reviews. As you're helping me to slowly grow this channel, we can grow this together. And for those of you watching on YouTube, thank you for being my loyal supporters. I'm continually impressed and cheering for you each week as I share these tips and tricks with you that have the power not only to help you lose weight, but help you change your life forever. And as always, I always look forward to your comments each week because this community is the reason I'm here every week. And for those of you who don't know me yet, I'm a 51-year-old fitness enthusiast. I love everything about fitness. And fortunately and unfortunately, in the past, I've been obese on 2 occasions. And the second time I found myself obese, I managed to create my own roadmap that helped me get out of obesity, which also helped me change my entire life in the process. Each week, I share simple little lessons, hard-earned lessons that I've learned in life in hopes that I can help people like you to lose weight and take charge of your lives and improve your lives in the process. In particular, for this week's episode, I know what it's like to have children of all ages, from newborn all the way through to adulthood. I have a daughter who is 20, going on 28 years old this year, and I raised her for the majority of her life on my own. So I know exactly what you're dealing with when you say that it's a struggle to meet your work obligations, meet all your family obligations, and take back your health and fitness and keep it at an optimal level. I know what that's like. So this week, I'm going to share with you just a little piece of that roadmap that I developed. The roadmap that helped me take control of my life, which includes a way to balance your work, family, and yes, also your fitness. If you're new to the channel, welcome and thank you for joining us. And before we get into the specifics, I would like to offer you a free gift that you can begin using today to help you shed some serious weight. If you're like I was, you may find that you've been struggling with finding a good diet. And you may be getting to a point where you're starting to believe that there is no diet out there for you. Then this free gift just might be the answer that you're looking for. So like I shared before, I found myself in a state of obesity not only once, but twice. The second time around, I created a roadmap that helped me get out of the state of obesity that I was in. And years later, I ended up jotting it all down, putting it in order, and publishing a book called Fit Anyway, the 9 Simple Directives to Win at Weight Loss and Change Your Life Forever. You can see it over my shoulder there. I was very proud that I published that book, and I had a mission to help 10,000 people lose weight, keep it off for a lifetime, and live a better life. I also created an online course called Fit Anyway Academy, where I take my students through, I hand walk them through the whole process, leaving no stone unturned. Each week they're required to fill out some homework, and it helps make sure that they don't miss anything and steps them through the entire process. Well, part of this training includes directive number 3, automate your plate. It is a simple and effective eating approach that I created where I used it to lose 65 pounds in 13 weeks, and that was more than 15 years ago. It's been more than 15 years, and I've maintained a very healthy body and physique for all these years. The benefits of this eating approach is that it gives you control over many of the things that you eat. It also allows you to eat more frequently than you ever have before, all with less time and effort spent in the kitchen. It spells everything out for you clearly. And those that have tried it and followed it correctly have had excellent results. Yes, I put together a free step-by-step checklist that steps you through the entire Automate Your Plate process, allowing you to use it as your very own quick start guide for automating your plate so you can begin using it and benefiting from it right away. The Automate Your Plate checklist takes everything that I teach in my online course and in my book on this directive, and it breaks it all down into a single page cheat sheet. You don't need to read the book, and you don't need to purchase the online course in order to be able to start benefiting from this free download today. For those of you listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can go to www.ethanlerock.com/automate. And if you're watching on YouTube, I've got a link below that I've provided, and you click and you can get it right there. Again, I've been personally using the Automate Your Plate eating approach for more than 15 years. I love it. I never get tired of it. It never gets old. Oh, and by the way, it has the potential to save you more than 11 hours of your life per week. So for those of you out there that are having a really hard time with finding time in your schedule to work out and do all the things you need to do to keep your fitness on track, imagine what you could do saving 11 hours of your life every week. So by all means, take advantage and find the relief that you've been looking for. Oh, am I ever excited to be teaching you in this week's episode. I remember vividly those 2 beautiful blue eyes looking up at me every day, blinking and waiting for my attention. It warms my heart. But at the same time, I remember being at my wit's end, trying to figure out how I'm going to be here for this little girl who needs me, while also going to work every day and also going to the gym and getting my fitness and keeping my fitness on track. If that is where you are today, then get ready for some change. This episode was designed specifically and intentionally for you. This is the episode that helps you find out how to get out of this rut, and take charge of your life, and find a way to fit it all together: work, family, and your fitness. So I'm not going to waste your time today talking into some general, way back terms of what you might want to do roughly. I'm going to get into some real specifics. Now, these instructions require some attention and some action on your part. However, they are also applicable to anyone. That's right. So even if you don't have any children, these instructions I'm about to share will help you benefit either way. But for the intention of today's episode, I'm being real specific and focused on the parents that are out there that are having a little bit of a struggle right now. So with that being said, pause this video right now. Go find yourself a journal or a notepad, and I encourage you to get something that you can regularly write in each week as you watch these episodes. And get ready to jot some things down, because I am going to be very, very specific. And I'm going to be detailing out a portion of that roadmap that can get you to where you want to be and taking charge and being able to balance it all. And as always, if you are serious about this thing, serious about taking back your life, taking back your health, then I encourage you to take some action today and prove this to yourself. Prove that you can do this. So let's get into it. So the first thing you need to be doing is something I call chunking out your day. It's something that I define out in the book. And what it entails is finding out exactly what your schedule is. It's a tool that I use to establish a baseline of where I'm at. Like many times, I was just like you. I would say, I don't have enough time in the day. I don't know how I can get to the gym and feed my little girl and do all the things I need to do and go to work. I just can't seem to find the time. But it was just a general statement that I was making. And that's the problem. It's not objective. It's a very subjective thing when you're just making statements. So what I did is I developed this little tool called Chunking Out Your Day, and I'm going to talk you through the process. What I want you to do, and this is where you should be starting to write some things down, is I want you to prepare 7 sheets of paper. And in each of those 7 sheets of paper, what I want you to do is I want you to put in rows that are in 15-minute increments. So starting with when you get up in the morning, I want you to put in every 15 minutes an increment, okay, on a sheet of paper. So basically you draw a line this way, and you draw several lines this way, and you basically draw out like a day planner, what you do all day long, okay? That's kind of the idea that we're getting into right now. Now, each page should have a label at the top: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's pretty straightforward. Now that you have your pages laid out, I'd like you to draw a couple more lines, some columns, and we'll get to what those are going to be about later. But draw at least 2 or 3 columns, okay, on the piece of paper. Keep it simple. It's going to be just a simple grid. Now, once you have these, if you've written them on paper, great. If you decide to do it in Excel or some sort of electronic format, that's fine too. But just make sure you print all 7 pages, because I want you handwriting on these pages throughout each day. So starting with when you get up each morning, you have these sheets of paper printed. What I'd like you to do with the pieces of paper, I'd like you to put them on a clipboard or put them on something hard, like on the back of a hardcover book or something like that. Just use a little tape to keep them in place. It doesn't have to be fancy. And just start writing out each morning from the time you get up, 15-minute increments, what you do. So for example, 6:30 to 6:45, I take a shower, or whatever it might be, right? 6:45 till 7 o'clock, I get ready for work, or whatever it might be. And go through each step, including when you eat and all that great stuff, up until the point where you go to work. And then when you don't have to document everything you do when you're working, okay? You can leave that blank. But once you're done work, I want you to continue this process. So say you get done at roughly 4:30 or 5 o'clock. I want you to take each one of those little 15-minute increments that you have after you're done work, and I want you to continue this process and write down what you do, okay? And that includes everything. From the time you get off work, I took this long to drive home. From the time I got home, this is that thing that I did. I cooked dinner, or I cleaned the house, or I washed the car, whatever you do, okay, on a daily basis. And step it all through and write it all in clearly what you're doing. And I want you to do this for all the way until you go to bed, okay, to the point where you go to sleep. What I did right up to that minute. And I want you to do this for all 7 days of the week. So I want you to be dedicated to this for 1 whole week. 1 whole week, I want you to dedicate some time to yourself. Put yourself at some level of importance and document what you're doing. It is a lot easier than you think. And it's going to prove to be an amazing tool for you to make change in your life. Now, the next thing I want you to do after that week is complete, I want you to just sit down for a few moments, and I want you to go through each day, starting at the first day and working yourself through. It doesn't have to start on a Monday. You can start this on a Friday if you want. The whole point is, I want you to have a full 7 days to look at. So start with the very first day that you started on. And I want you to look at the lines and all the things you wrote down. And in those columns that I asked you to add, I want you to have a red pen. So if you don't have a red pen, get one, because it's important. It's a visual thing. And what I want you to do is in the column next to all these tasks, as you scan down from the very beginning of the day through down to the end of the day, I want you to put a big red X to anything that isn't extremely necessary in your life and important. In other words, it's not adding any value to what you want to do in life. It's not life-changing. It's not going to get you closer to where you want to be. Some examples of that are taking time to sit and watch television, taking time to watch the news, taking time to scroll on social media, on your phone endlessly, sitting on the couch and vegging with your partner or your spouse, Useless activities, online gaming, playing games, anything else that, all those escapisms that we do, all those distractions that we have. Those are the things I'm talking about. Now, I'm not saying that it's, a bad thing to have some sort of avoidance in the day and some sort of stress relief in the day by playing games, etc. What I'm saying is I want you to put a big red X right now. You're trying to take charge of your life. You want to be able to balance this whole thing. Being able to have a job, have a family, and get your fitness back. Well, these are the answers. You need to go through this process. I'm telling you, it's amazing to go through. And it's going to be eye-opening. So put a big red X next to those useless activities, those non-value added activities. And now what I would like you to do, for all the ones you put an X next to, I'd like you to get out a ruler or a straight edge, and I want you to draw a red line through that activity that you do each day, okay? That's non-value added. Now I'm going to go through 4 real critical things that you need to put in place where those red lines are, okay? One's going to be your planning. The second is going to be your exercise time. The third is going to be your meal prep time. And the fourth is going to be your quality family time. So in regard to your planning time, for each day, I want you to do this for me. I want you to set aside 10 minutes, only 10 minutes in the morning for you to review your weekly goals, okay? Second, I want you to put aside 10 minutes at the end of the day to just sit and reflect. Usually that's right before bedtime. I want you to sit and reflect about how you performed today to your goal for the day. Did you make it? For example, did you stay on track with your diet? Did you get your planned workout in? And if you didn't have a planned workout, that's fine. Then you don't have to hold yourself accountable. But if you had a planned workout that you set up in the morning, I want you to assess yourself at the end of the day. Did you make it to that workout? And the third thing regarding planning, every Sunday, I want you to set aside 30 minutes, a half hour. I know it seems like a lot, but really when you compare it to all the things we do, it's not really that much. I want you to set aside 30 minutes to, number one, assess how you did for the week. How did you perform to your goals that you had set up the week prior? So now you may be asking, well, I don't have a plan. I don't have any goals set up. Well, use that 30 minutes then to establish those goals. And you should have clear goals that you set up for yourself. And if you're someone who's trying to lose weight, one of those goals should be, how much weight do you want to lose? And when do you plan to lose them by? And how much, and when you figure that out, how much do you need to lose per month, per week, per day, okay? And you can step it on back. And then you have a real clear goal of what you want to do. It could also include goals for self-education, learning about health and fitness. Learning is power. When you have knowledge in your head, it gives you immense power and control over your life. So you might want to put in what kind of education you plan on giving yourself for health and fitness, whether it's some training at the gym, whether it's an online course, whether it's listening to audio, whatever it might be, but something that gives you an education and focus on your health and fitness. So if you already do have a plan, you've taken those 30 minutes to review your plan, how you did, I also want you to take some time to think about next week. What are next week's goals and activities? And anywhere where you failed in last week, I want you to come up with game plans and ways you can defeat any roadblocks that you had the previous week so that you can be successful next week in achieving the goals that you set out. And the reason I think it's so important to put planning on your schedule first, time to review your planning, the 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at the end of the day, and the 30 minutes at the end of the week, because that's what truly keeps you focused on what you want to do. That is the powerful tool that you'll need in place, because everything else I'm about to teach you means nothing if you're not keeping track of what you're doing. So we've got our minimal planning time set up, right? 2 10-minute sessions and a 30-minute session. There should still be a whole bunch of red lines on each day that you can use that are still available. So one of the first things I want you to do after you've done the planning thing, I want you to look at each page and I want you to come up with a 1 hour max time that you can use to do some sort of physical exercise. And you may be wondering, well, how many days a week should I be doing that? Well, it all depends on how much weight you need to lose, how heavy you are, how physical that activity is, how challenging it is, how much calories you burn when you do that activity. For a very heavy person, my advice to you would be to aim for 6 days a week, which means this: 4 days where you're doing some sort of physical activity for a 1 hour max, where you're putting a tax on your muscles, okay? Where you're building up your muscles and strength. That's the main focus. And then on the other 2 days of the week, I want you to do 30 minutes maximum of something very light, an aerobic activity. My suggestion, if you're very overweight, is to start with walking. Walking is an aerobic activity that you can do, and you can build yourself up as you get started. You may start out really slow and not be able to walk very far. Depends on how far gone you are. And for those of us that aren't that far gone, then it should be fairly easy. But what you want to do either way is you want to increase the aggression that you're using when you walk. So you want to start out gently. You want to start out gently, keeping your knees and your lower back and your ankles, all safe, allowing them to develop some strength and get used to it. And then you want to start walking a little bit faster each day. You may want to time yourself. But what I would really suggest is don't get overwhelmed by it. Don't get stressed out by, keeping a stopwatch and trying to be faster every day. That's not the intent of this. The intent is that you just do your best to try to be fast as you can at the activity so that you can get the most out of it. Now, I don't want you, at this point, I really don't want you running or jogging, okay? We want to keep this as an aerobic activity where you have oxygen, okay? And that you're able to carry on a conversation. That's a good indicator. If you're able to walk and carry on a conversation and you can feel yourself breathing, that's exactly what I want you to do on those 2 days. Now, if you're not that heavy and you only have a few pounds to lose, or maybe you're someone who's in really good shape and you're looking for some other ways to stay fit, someone like me, right? I go for walks each day, but officially my training schedule is only 3 days a week. I work out and I maintain my fitness 3 days a week that I do resistance training. That's less than an hour each session. I don't intentionally do any cardio sessions. To be honest with you, right now I do none because I'm just maintaining my fitness. I have no real goals to lose a bunch of weight. I'm just here to keep what I have because I feel very good at where I'm at. So I do 3 training sessions a week. There have been times where I've done 2 training sessions a week. Now, I wouldn't advise that to most people that are trying to lose weight. It's just for those that are really at that point where they want to maintain. So if you are just starting out and you do have a bunch of weight to lose, start out with 6 days a week. And the reason I'm telling you about me and where I'm at is not to brag, but to let you know that there is hope on the horizon, that this thing gets easier as you go. That's right. It all gets easier as you go. After you drop all the pounds off, you build up some real muscle and get yourself back in shape. Then you have to work at this less. It's amazing how it all works. When you start getting the nutrition thing on track as well, it all becomes very, very easy to maintain. So with that being said, the next thing that you need to look at and that you need to add in is look at all these red lines. And I want you to find a place on the weekend specifically where you can put aside 1.5 hours. That's right. To do some sort of meal prep. And if you want some real good advice on how to do that, you can look and you can download my free Automate Your Plate checklist. I talked about it at the beginning of this video, and I'll refer to it at the end of the video as well. But you can start with that. But you don't have to do the Automate Your Plate thing either. You can find some sort of eating approach that works for you. But either way, I want you to do some meal prep. I want you to do this once a week. Spend 1.5 hours preparing your meals and freezing them if need be to keep them fresh. Depends on what kind of food you'll be preparing. And have it all organized so you don't have to think about it during the entire week. And again, getting back to us that have families and have little ones in particular, You might want to take advantage of this time when you're cooking on the weekend to have your little one there with you. Put some fun music on. Maybe have them join in some of the meal prep and helping out. Talk to them a little bit about why you do this. Talk to them about some of the things you know and you've learned about nutrition and the benefits of eating a good and clean diet where there aren't any processed foods coming in, and explain to them why that's important. Because when they're young, that's the best time to start teaching them these types of things. I wish when I was little that I had somebody like myself that knew about nutrition, knew about all the bad things that are out there for you with the processed foods and the high sugar and the trans fats and the saturated fats. It's in the hydrogenated fats. You know, it's just crazy what we all have become accustomed to, what we all eat every day, and we have no idea that is the root of the problem when it comes to, you know, our health and the way we feel. A lot of it comes from what we ingest. And when you can teach your little ones that at a young age, it can last an entire lifetime. So you have your planning sessions, you have your exercise sessions all jotted down now and planned out. You have your meal prep time all there and jotted down and in your schedule as well. Well, hopefully when you step back and look at all your pages, you'll still find a bunch of red lines drawn through that aren't filled in yet. What do you do with those? What I really urge you to do with those is to find a way to make some activities that you and your family can do together. Healthy activities. Some suggestions might be, especially for the little ones, okay, the preteens, is to start taking them on a walk on a daily basis. Whether it be after dinner, that's a good time to do it, usually if you have a full-time job during the day, but whatever your schedule will allow. And spend some time as a family unit together. And if you can get your spouse with you there as well, then that is awesome. That is optimal to have you together as a family. That can be walking, that can be riding your bike, can be going out to a park and just strolling along. The important thing is that you're all together and you're take the time to be there in the moment. You know, if you're anything like I was, you have a job and it's challenging and all day long you're answering to others and you're doing the best for the company because you really do care about the company and their success. You all want to be successful together. But with that comes, you're not there in the moment all the time. You're always thinking ahead and planning what you got to do next, you know, to make sure that you're successful. You're always assessing, you know, all the different things in your plan at work. And when you get home, it's easy to get caught up in that mindset where you're thinking about something else and you're a little bit not connected. It's easy to do, and even in your personal life, there's many things that go on in everybody's personal lives. Well, this is your time during the day with you and your family, your loved ones, where you just forget about all of that. And you get out there and you walk together and you play together. And I encourage you to talk and ask questions to your children. You know, point things out that you see, that you notice in the neighborhood, or things that are cool, like maybe certain animals that come across your path or birds that are flying in the trees. And just make an effort to be there and talk with them. It's a lot easier to do before they become teenagers, right? Between you and I, that's when I'm telling you should be focusing on it. The reason why, when they do become teenagers, okay, you can still carry them with you on this whole process as they get older if you start teaching them at a young age. You know, they'll be way more willing to adapt and be there with you and they'll actually look forward to this activity because it's an enjoyable activity that they can do with their parents, and they'll be able to feel close to you as they get older. This is something I did with my little girl when she was really little. I used to take her out regularly for walks after dinner, and I used to take her for little bicycle rides. And I'll talk to you about this in a minute, but I also used to take her to the gym with me when she was little. And all of it has benefited all these years later. She's 28 years old this year. She'll be 28. She's a nurse. She works full time, and guess what? She takes care of her health. She works out. She trains, and she keeps her body in shape. She also keeps her mind in shape, and it gives her great drive in life. So just be patient. Trust me in what I'm telling you. You can do this. You can work, be there with your family, and also take care of your fitness and have a big impact on your children's lives as well. So as a bonus, I'm going to talk to you about one more thing. For those of you that have preteens, okay, younger children, they're not teenagers yet, there's one thing that you need to do. You need to find some sort of childcare that allows you to have your 1 hour max a day. That is critical if you have children and you feel like you just don't have any opportunity to work out because you have to be there for your children. And again, I'm going to use an analogy. When you're in an airplane and you read all the safety instructions at the beginning before you take off, they tell you that when there's a drop in the cabin pressure, some oxygen masks will drop down. And the very first thing they tell you to do is you may be tempted to take that oxygen mask and put it on your child, if your child's with you, because you love them so much. But the very first thing you really need to do, and they tell you to do, is put that oxygen mask on yourself. And the reason they tell you that is because you need to take care of yourself first so that you can look out for your little one. Okay? That's why they do it. Because they know if you just put it on your child, that you may pass out and then your child's left alone and doesn't have anybody to take care of them. Okay? Well, it's the same thing I'm teaching you here. You need to be able to have somebody look out for your children so that you can take care of you. Because this body that you have is the only body you're going to get. Okay? And you need to take care of it so you can be strong for your children. It's the same exact thing. And again, it's only 1 hour max per day. And that's for those that are trying to lose a lot of weight. Okay? And that can be anybody. That can be your parents that you take advantage of, your siblings, your brothers and sisters. You may have some friends who have children that you can just leave your children with for the 1 hour. Or if you and your spouse aren't working out together, maybe it's just you take turns. And one of you watches the children as the other one gets some physical activity. It's only 1 hour max. So think about it. You don't have to dread it and make it bigger than it really is. It's just an hour a day. And once you get used to that idea and get over this whole thing you're doing to yourself with this self-guilt, how can anybody possibly raise my children for an hour a day without me there? When you get over all of that, you're going to come out of this thing a much stronger and better human being. Now, one thing I would advise, I do suggest that you use your family members if possible, okay? But one thing I highly advise is that if you can, take advantage of any daycare options that you may have at the training facility that you're at. So if you're at a gym or a studio or some sort of place where you get training, okay, because I don't know what kind of training you get, and they have a daycare that's there, by all means, if you have to pay a few bucks to take advantage of that, then do it. And there's a reason for that. You bypass all that nonsense with having to pick up and drop off your children at the relatives, and then the time-consuming small chat and all that stuff that takes place. And, you forget something at their house and you have to go get it. All that fun stuff, you know what I mean? You're there. Well, you'll bypass all that. And you'll be able to take them with you to your activity. And you'll be able to have them there with you. You do your activity and then you pick them up out of the daycare. It's an amazing thing to have. And I'm telling you personally, that's what I did with my little girl. When all through those years when I was training at the gym, I have amazing memories of my little girl coming with me to the gym, walking into the gym, and laughing and looking forward to meeting the little daycare, the people that were there to watch the children. And I watched her grow up. And then as she got older and older and older, and we went there every day together. And then somewhere in her, I think it was her early teens, I think she was like 13, I was still taking her to the gym with me. One day she looked up at me and she said, "Dad," because she was helping take care of the kids by that point. She went, "Dad, I don't know if I want to do this anymore." And I looked at her and I said, she said, you think I should stop coming to this?" And I looked at her and I remember I teared up because I realized that time had gone by. But it was an amazing thing to have. I loved taking her to the gym with me every day. I loved getting her ready, taking her in, doing my workout, and then getting her ready and taking her out and asking her how it was. She'd do artwork, she'd play with the other children, and she just used to have an amazing time. And I think maybe it was the very first day we had an issue, just like any daycare, right? You have an issue on the first day where they're not comfortable yet and they're leery. But once they get in there, it's totally fine. And it's something that she used to look forward to. She knew all of them by name, and she used to look forward to hanging out with the teachers. It's an amazing thing. So don't feel guilty about taking advantage of daycare. There's nothing wrong with it. And I'm telling you, she's a nurse today. It didn't damage her. It helped her to be a little more self-sufficient. It taught her social skills. And it's all these things that stuck with her for a lifetime. And like everything I teach on this channel, psychology is where everything starts. And taking charge and planning your life is one of the key steps to getting you to where you want to be. You really can find time to obtain and maintain your health and fitness and meet all your obligations as a parent. The truth in the matter is that it's entirely up to you. You have the power and control to make any change you want in your life. And the other truth is that you are the only one that's holding you back. And the great part about having that knowledge in mind is that it also tells you that you have full control of any change you want in your life. You just need to decide. You need to decide and take action today. Start doing this planning thing. Start figuring this thing out. You've got it within you. You can do this. Whew, we covered a lot today. There was a lot of information shared. And I'm telling you that these are the key steps. These are the key little steps that you can put into your life to make significant change that allows you to have balance in your life, your work, family, and your fitness, tying them all together. And my daughter and I, we are so close. We're closer than many parents can say they are to their children. And I believe that a big part of that was that I took the time to take care of myself. I took care of me first, kept myself strong and healthy so that I could be there for her. So that when she had any issues, I could talk it out with her and I could be in the moment and I could be there for my little girl. So please, be strong. Start doing these things. Take charge of your life so that you can be strong and be there for your family. It will all be well worth it. And again, if addressing your diet is one of the things you plan to do, then as I shared earlier, you can go and download my free Automate Your Plate checklist by going to www.ethanlerock.com/automate. And if you're watching on YouTube, there is a link below that you can click on and you can get it there. It's an amazing eating approach. It cuts out all the confusion. And with the checklist, it's a paint by numbers approach. You just go through step 1, do this, step 2, do that, step 3, do that, and you check the box and you go through. And before you know it, you'll be automating your plate. You'll be following this brand new eating approach, and you'll be able to see just how valuable it is. Without this eating approach, I wouldn't be where I am today without the Automate Your Plate eating approach. So that's why I'm offering this free download for you to get today. So I hope you download it, and I look forward to hearing about your progress. So, Mom and Dad, I hope this week's episode was valuable for you, and I hope you give it a try. And when you do, if you hit any roadblocks along the way, please feel free to come back to this episode and leave me some comments down below. Any issues that you run into, any questions you might have, anything that got in your way that stopped you from doing what you wanted to do. Because right now this channel is pretty early in its development, and I have time to go in right now and I look at all the comments. And if you do have questions and things you need help with, I might just pop in and I'll either give you a reply of how you can work your way through it. Or I might reach out to you, you never know. But I also might create a video that you can watch, a follow-up video in the future that will address these questions and roadblocks that come your way. And I'll get right into detail like I usually do on how you can go through them and keep moving forward to where you want to be. Because that's the reason I'm here every week. I want to help all you guys lose weight. I want you to keep it off for a lifetime. I want you to have an amazing life with your families. I want you to feel that life is so worth living and it's so vibrant and full of joy, because that's where everybody should be in life. That's where I'm at in life. And that's where I have been for many years. And if you're at a point where you're not that way right now in life, I believe it all starts with your health and fitness. You have to have a foundation. You have to have a healthy body and a clear mind as the very first fundamental thing. And the rest, well, I'm going to help you with the rest as well as we go through each week. So I hope this helped you. I hope this episode was valuable to you guys. And until we meet again, stay healthy, be happy, and live your life with intention every single day.